أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to our viewers and listeners. This then is the last and study 30 of the Ramadan Daily Quran studies of the year 2020. And I'm Zahid Aziz, who's delivering these studies. And I always complete 30 studies, even if Ramadan, as happens, sometimes consists of 29 fasts. This final one then is the second dealing with the topic, or continuing dealing with the topic of knowledge, science and the Holy Quran. And our comments on Dr. Tyson's response. We would say, therefore, in response to Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, that the Quran is like the teacher who doesn't tell his students the answers to questions, but shows them how to reach the answer themselves, how to reach the answers themselves, which of course is a more intelligent approach and gets the students to exercise their thinking and intelligence as well. But if we just think, if the Quran had mentioned detailed modern scientific facts 1500 years ago, first of all, people would have ridiculed the Quran because these facts that we now know are contrary to what people can see with their own eyes. For example, the moon doesn't look as if it's a sphere thousands of miles across, nor does the sun look to people as if it's 90 million or more than 90 million miles away. So to mention such specific facts would only have meant that people would have been ridiculing the Quran for many centuries. Also, detailed modern scientific facts, there is no limit to them. So there is no way of selecting which facts to present in a book of limited size. And thirdly, if people are spoon-fed in this way, then they wouldn't need to make any effort themselves or to use their own faculty of reason and make efforts themselves. Despite this, we can give the following examples of indicators in the Quran to future research. Now, the Quran contains the following instruction: Kul siru fil arzi fanzuru kaifa badal khalqa summa Allahu yunshi'un nashatal akhirah inna Allaha ala kulli shay'in qadir, which translates as, say, travel in the earth, then see how he makes the first creation, then Allah creates the later creation. Surely Allah is powerful over all things. Chapter 29, verse 20. Travel in the earth, see how Allah creates the first creation and he creates the latter creation. One could say that the scientist Charles Darwin did exactly this. He traveled in the earth, went to various remote islands, and from the discoveries in nature there, he put forward the theory of evolution, which is about how the first creation gradually evolved to become the later creation. So this is just a suggestion on my part that this verse says travel in the earth. And you can see, you'll be able to find out about how creation began and then how Allah brought the later creation. Then the Quran also says that there exists creation of God which is not known to man. In one verse it says, which is translated as follows, and Allah made horses and mules and asses that you might ride upon them, and as an ornament. And He creates what you do not know. وَيَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Chapter 16, verse 8. And in another place, glory be to Him who created pairs of all things, of what the earth grows, and of their own kind, and of what they do not know. Chapter 36, this is Surah Yasin, verse 36. That Allah created pairs of all things, of what the earth grows, and of people themselves, and of what they do not know. So these two verses together tell us that at any stage in man's history, there will be things in creation which he will not know. He will later discover them, thus showing that there had been creation which he was previously unaware of. The first verse also indicates specifically modes of transport that man will ride upon to come into existence in the future, because it refers to horses, mules, and donkeys that you ride upon, and that Allah creates what you do not know. The second verse speaks of creation unknown to man, which exists in pairs. Subhanallazi khalaqal azwaja kullaha, who created pairs of all things, azwaj. An example of such pairs later discovered are charged particles in nuclear physics. For example, the proton and the electron. The two charges, positive and negative, occur in pairs. And scientific discoveries and advancement of technology, these things are indicated as follows. وَإِذَا الصُّحُفُ نُشِرَتْ وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ كُشِطَتْ. Two verses stating, and when the books are spread, and when the heaven has its covering removed. Chapter 81, verses 10 and 11. And another verse, وَفُتِحَتِ السَّمَاءُ فَكَانَتْ أَبْوَابًا. And the heaven is opened so it becomes as doors. فَكَانَتْ أَبْوَابًا, becomes doors. Chapter 78, verse 19. The first passage I quoted here shows that knowledge will advance by means of the spread of books, and more particularly that the mysteries of the sky will be unveiled as a result, which is described as the heaven has its covering removed. The covering of the heavens was removed with the invention of telescopes and then radio telescopes, so that you could see further into the heavens. Regarding the second verse, the heaven is opened so that it becomes as doors. Today, the heaven is open due to space travel. There is a term, launch window, and this is used to refer to the ideal or best time, either of in a month or of the year, the best time for launching a spacecraft from the Earth towards a particular object in the solar system. So the heaven has become doors And then the Holy Quran asks man to look again and again at his creation to find order in the laws that govern creation. It says, and you see no anomaly in the creation of the beneficent. Then look again. Can you see any disorder? Then look again and again. Your sight will return to you confused while it is fatigued. Chapter 67, verses 3 to 4. So, man should again and again turn to creation, it says, and he will not find disorder, but order. It should also be remembered that the rule applying to true prophecies of all kinds is that the meaning of how exactly a prophecy is fulfilled is not known until its fulfillment actually takes place. A prophecy can only be understood comprehensively in retrospection after the knowledge is obtained and not beforehand. Beforehand, people only speculate about it. Finally, on this particular topic, one must pay tribute to the nations and civilizations which encourage the advancement of knowledge and created and supported the conditions for it. And one must equally pay tribute to the individuals who brought about the advancement of knowledge and science. These individuals devoted their lives to their studies only in the pursuit of truth, and they made sacrifices for the sake of the pursuit of truth. And in many cases, as we know, they had to face opposition and persecution from their own fellow countrymen, from their own nations, for the discoveries that they had made. So they went through all this suffering. There was a time till 6 or 7 centuries ago when Muslim nations followed these standards. Then regrettably they gave up, and other nations took up the banner of advancing knowledge of the world. And then in whatever field they tried to advance that knowledge, they succeeded. That brings study number 30 to an end, and with it, the Ramadan Daily Quran studies for the year 2020 come to an end. I thank Almighty Allah that He granted me to be able to present these studies to you, and I hope you learned some things from them, and you should also look at them critically with your own understanding to see where they were beneficial to you and you learned something, where they need improvement, correction, change, etc. And only thus can we go on advancing in the world and not simply listening to what someone says and that being then the end of the matter. And as this is the last study for the year 2020, the Ramadan Daily Quran studies, I wish Eid Mubarak to all our viewers and listeners and the readers of the printed Quran studies as well. So here is wishing all of you a very happy and blessed Eid. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quranil Azim wa nafa'na wa iyyakum bil ayati wal dhikril hakim. Innahu ta'ala jawadun karimun malikun barrufur rahim. وآخر الدعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. May Allah accept the efforts of all of us in His way and grant them to bear good fruit. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.